Danny Gaffone for Pro Boxing Fans in Sheffield. Frank Smith, Dalton Smith, this has been billed as the fight before the fight before the world title, but we expecting a stiffer test than Wallaweezy last time out from Matthew Germain?
I think it will be a different test, but I think it's the kind of test he needs, it's the kind of step up he needs. You know, it's not a 50-50 fight, but it's a fight he can't overlook, you know, and it's the kind of thing he needs as he prepares for the type of fight we're looking at the end of the year for that WBC world title.
You talk about not overlooking Matthew Germain. Is that the main sort of concern in this fight, that we saw it so many times in boxing where a big fight's in the pipeline and fighters can take their eye off the ball, but you're not expecting that from Dalton?
I don't think so with Dalton Smith. I think every fight he goes into, he approaches as if it's the world title shot. You saw that with Wallaweezy, you saw the performance he put in there, you saw the shape he was in for that fight, you see him today. He's a professional. Everything he does is to the highest level. So I'm not concerned about that. You know, our job is to look beyond and plan for him. His job is to get in there and do the job when the fight's in front of him, and that's what he's got. The key was always about momentum this year, and that's what he's got. January, April, and then that world title fight.
Chief support, we've got Josh Warrington back in the ring. This fight with Michael Conlan's been talked about on both sides. Seems a natural fight to make, would you say?
100%. Look, it's a fight I'd love to see, you know, look, two big ticket sellers, two fighters who have done big things for the sport, so it's definitely a fight I would love to see. I think Mick's fighting for the European title in May on the Channel 5 show, so let's see, you know, but that would definitely be a great fight if we can get it over the line.
With other bits and pieces, saw Dan Rafael reported last night, talks for Bam Rodriguez in a unification fight with Philomene Cafu are ongoing. Any expectation on an announcement on that? I know Eddie's teased some announcements for America and stateside. Could that be one of them, potentially San Antonio?
Yeah, that's a fight we're working on making. It's a great fight. You know, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, I think pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world right now. And it's all about delivering him fights that are going to, you know, keep him moving forward. And he wants to become unified champion. He's done so much already just at 24 years old. So hopefully we can get that fight over the line for the summer.
Frank, I'm sure you saw Chris Eubank Sr.'s comments yesterday. He's very disparaging about the fight between his son and Conor Benn. Just your initial reaction to what he was saying?
Yeah, look, I try not to get too involved, obviously, with it all for obvious reasons. I think, you know, I think it's best not over camera to talk about it. In truth, you know, with the relationship, I think he's been in, he's seen those fights over the years. You know, he's talking about Michael Watson, Nick Blackwell. You know, look, it's a fight with two angles. Conor Benn coming up, 2 weight divisions from 147. You know, there's a lot of talk about the second day weighing, but it's been done in the sport many times. You know, Chris is a natural 160. You know, he's had the majority of his career has been at 160. His recent fights have been at 160. So I'm not sure anything's changed in that front, in truth. You know, the original fight, very different. The original fight was at 157. It was a weight that Chris had never done before. So it's a different conversation. But yeah, look, it's a huge fight. It's going to be a huge moment next week. I'm looking forward to it.
One thing he brought up was the Kell Brook-Gennady Golovkin fight, saying Matchroom should have had their promotional license revoked for making that. I think he said it was against the rules. Are there any rules in place about fighters making big jumps against up the weight?
Every fight has to be approved, but it's, you know, it's, I think Conor had his last 2 fights at 154 or 155, you know, because he was planning to go into this fight at 160. If the fight wasn't safe, it wouldn't be approved. That's the reality of it. You know, it's not the first time we've seen fighters go up multiple weight divisions, and it's also over a period of time. You know, this is over 2.5 years now that this fight's been spoken about, and Conor's been preparing himself for it, really, because we always knew this would be the big fight for him. So, you know, I think the British Boxing Board of Control are there to do their job, and if they weren't happy with it, then it wouldn't be approved. But, you know, I think there's many reasons as to why it's going ahead.
On the weight, who do you think is handicapped more? Is it Conor with the jump up in weight, or is it Chris with that rehydration clause?
No, I think all of it, I think when you look at the fight as a whole, it's a 50-50 for the reasons of Conor is younger, right? He's younger, fresher fighter. I think Chris is obviously the naturally bigger fighter. I think the weight is a jump for Conor coming up 2 weight divisions, yes. I think we're at Chris's natural weight. He's always spoken about he doesn't really put on that much weight, you know, and so it's a close fight. It's a close fight for those reasons, you know, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think whatever happens, it's going to be a back and forth barn burner, and you'll want to see it again. One
thing I've got to get your thoughts on, Frank, is I think it's actually just been resolved, is this 12-10 round debate between Liam Cameron and Ben Whitaker.
Cameron's rubbing his hands together, isn't it?
Have you ever seen anything like that before? Like when we were 3-4 days out and the fight's just been, it's been established how many rounds it's going to take?
No, it's amateur hour, isn't it? You know, look. It was a human error, but the way it's been dealt with has been dealt with terribly. In reality, you know, it could have been dealt with a lot better. It could have been dealt with a long time ago behind closed doors. It's played out with all this. Ultimately, I feel sorry for the fighters, really. Well, actually, Ben Whitaker more than anyone, because Liam Cameron's in such a good position. He's both won the game mentally and he's won financially. And fair play to him. But Ben Whitaker, it's not his fault he's in this position. He signed for a 10-round fight. He's really been embarrassed by his promoter by putting him in that position. You know, I think the mind games have been won by Liam Cameron. Because literally Liam Cameron could have stuck with 12 rounds. But ultimately he's been paid, I'm sure, a hefty sum, and fair play to him. He's a lovely bloke, he deserves all the opportunity in the world, it's going to be a great fight.
If you're representing Liam Cameron there, are you just holding out for stupid money to change it to 10 rounds?
Yeah, all you're saying, he's doing 12 rounds. Look, I accept people make errors, human errors. It's the way you approach things. And some of the messaging of Ben's the A-side. Yeah, I agree, he's the A-side. 100% he's the A-side. He's a huge name in the sport for sure. But it doesn't matter who the A-side is when you've messed up a contract. The reality is, Liam Cameron could have said it's 12 rounds, and if you don't go ahead with it, I'm suing you for breach of contract. You know, so Liam Cameron's the one who's won. So congratulations to him, and look, best of luck. I like Ben Whitaker as well. I've got a good relationship with him. I just feel like he's been sort of misguided, mismanaged with this process, but it should be a good fight.
A couple of quick ones, I'll let you go. We see Tyson Fury back in the gym. Is there any sort of reinvigorated hope that we might see this fight between him and Anthony Joshua? Are you holding out for that, Frank?
Too much talking about big fights over the years. Let's hope we can make it. It's the biggest fight there. It's the biggest fight to be made. I think it's the fight that makes the most sense, and it's one we want to see, so hopefully we can.
He is looking in good shape, Tyson. Have you heard any rumblings that, we think he might be coming back?
I think he'll come back. I mean, he's retired a few times before. This is no different. I hope he comes back, because that's a big fight for the sport. And
last one, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois. Now, Frank Warren, that is, pretty upset that reports had gone out that it's been finalised for July 12th. If it is to happen, that's a rematch, that you think there's a sense of jeopardy for Alexander Usyk?
Look, it's a real fight. Daniel Dubois has shown what he's about. But the heavyweight division, I think Alexander Usyk's a tremendous fighter. He's shown that. With what he's done. And it'll be a great fight if it happens.
If it happens. Frank Smith, thanks very much. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.